don't worry. 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft.
To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play at least 60 minutes a day.
Okay, time for the team obstacle course. Yay!
What this place needs is more healthy kids. To get involved or donate, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Now I get it.
I was saying before we came down here, we did a prayer, and I was like, what am I doing here? Like, I'm so humbled to have been selected, but I'm honored to share the panel with people that I look up to and respect. And it's like, I'm not where I want to be, but I am on a journey somewhere. And, you know, I'm just taking every day by every day and taking advantage of my resources and the people I look up to. So this is a great experience for me, and I'm honored to share the panel with you guys. I would first like to thank my mom, because she has everything to do with my process and who I am today and how I got here. This is my mom right here, everybody wave. But as an adult, you really see the sacrifices your parents made and the struggles and everything, and it makes you who you are. So that in itself has made my process very enlightening. You know, my mama said, I brought you in this world, I could take you out, but you prepared me for where I am today. So without your hard work, I wouldn't even be up here. So I would definitely like to thank my mom. She set expectations higher for me than I could have done for myself. But it pushed me. It made me want to do more. It made me want to get active. It made me want to make an impact in the community. So respect your parents. Appreciate them. You can't see it when you're young, but when you get older, you're like, Dad, I'm happy my mom made me sign up for that experience. I'm happy my mom had me involved in so many activities that I was always busy. I started networking early, and it's been an advantage to me this point in my life. So thanks to my mom. Who you marry has a huge impact on everything that you do. So I thank my husband, Brian Otrix, for changing my last name. But I thank him for speaking into my life. It's so important to have the right people around you, whether it's friends, but who you marry, the person you spend every point of your day. It is not perfect, no, but nothing is. Everything we post on Instagram is real. I love him. I love being married. I thank God for sending him to me. I thank God for allowing him to find me. Ladies, don't chase a man. God said, he who finds a wife finds a good thing, and I think he did okay, kind of. But no, I think that that's important. So I love you, and I thank you for always speaking to me and encouraging me when I'm low and keeping me going. Because everybody has low moments, and you need somebody that's going to pick you up and remind you to keep going and to push forward. So I just wanted to say thanks to them for putting me in a situation. So my name is Courtney Otrix. I am the co-founder and co-host of Talking Taste with Ashley. We created this event for young professionals to get together. We thought a lot of the young professional events that were going on were much of a mix and mingle. Nobody was actually passing out business cards. And we saw that as something that needed to be done in Cleveland. So we created Talking Taste, and we like to say it's Cleveland's premier networking event for young professionals to get inspired and be motivated and build a sense of community right here in Cleveland. If you don't know me, I'm a huge advocate of Cleveland. Courtney Clevelander, Courtney Advocate for Cleveland, that's who I am. I'm also the marketing manager for Global Cleveland. And in that role, I build relationships with companies and colleges, both in Cleveland and out of Cleveland, to help grow our population. I firmly believe in Cleveland, the economic development that's going on, and I think we should all help push Cleveland and get people to move to Cleveland. It's not what it used to be, and we're definitely going in the right direction. So believe in your city. So I would say that. I'm also a global ambassador for the Give One Project. I recently traveled to Africa for a global leadership program. And I'm really about just making an impact in this community in Cleveland. I think that there's a lot here and that we should take advantage of everything that's here. Lastly, I'm a freelance production assistant for ESPN and ABC. So I travel for NBA, Monday Night Football, college basketball, whatever it may be. So I'll start by saying, well, not start, but I'll just give you a few things that I hope help you about my journey. One, I've never had a dream job. I don't like to say I'm a jack of all trades, but I didn't grow up saying there was one thing that I wanted to be. I dibbled and dabbled in everything till I found what worked for me. So I worked for ESPN because I like working for TV. I like Talking Taste because it's something that we built. And I have a desire to help the young professionals do something different in Cleveland. I want us to work together. Global Cleveland is a nonprofit. I never thought that I would have anything to do with Cleveland. I thought I would always leave because it's just something that people do. You just leave Cleveland. But God aligned me with the right people who put me in a position that I had never done before, and it just worked out. And I love Global Cleveland, and that's what I'm doing, 4 things and not one. One, you have to start somewhere. So if you want to take notes, that's fine. If not, these are just a few pointers. You have to start somewhere. Everybody has their own story, but you have to know what it is that you want in life. Who are you? And you have to be confident in that. I remember being in high school and college, and since high school to college, I was the president of 15 organizations. I was busy. I was having meetings when my friends were going out for lunch because we had open campus, or I was in college, but my Saturday mornings I wasn't sleeping in. I was heading student government meetings. I knew then that I wanted to make an impact. I had the power to make a difference in any setting that I was in, and I was going to take full advantage of that. So know who you are, know what you want to do, and know what drives you. What is your purpose? I feel like my purpose is to make an impact. No matter what it is, what industry, is to make an impact. I'm okay with being different. I didn't have to always go to clubs. I didn't always have to go out. I was okay being at home reading a book, which is what I do a lot. But that had to, you have to be confident with that. When your friends want to go out, if they call you names, you're lame, you're no fun, it's okay. You know what I mean? Because I'm focused on what I want, in life. So, and it's not to say nobody else is not because you want to go out, but you just have to know and own what's for you is for you, and what you like is what you like, and you don't have to feel the pressure of what everybody else is doing to fit in. Nobody's life goes according to plan. God has ordained everything, and it's God's timing and not your timing. If you would have told me I was going to get married in 2014 and not 2012, I would have been like, no way. Because I had my life planned out to a T. I didn't know I would get pregnant my senior year of college. I didn't know I would have to take a semester off from school to help with my grandmother. You can't predict your life. You just have to go with the flow. You just have to accept things for what they are and believe that God's timing is always impeccable. I can remember times, a lot of times, where I could just cry, what is going on in my life? I was laid off from 2 IT companies because of company cuts. And I was like, what am I supposed to do? I thought this job was for me. The salary is great. But it really wasn't. And every time, it pushed me into my purpose. It pushed me closer to where I am today. Had I stayed at one job too long, I might not be where I am today. Had I not felt the discomfort working with certain people, with certain organizations, I might not have decided to start my own young professional group. So I think that you have to really embrace your story. Everyone says, oh my God, I wish I could walk a day in Beyonce's shoes, anybody's shoes. But you don't know her journey. You don't know her story. Own what's yours. Own your mistakes. Earn whatever trials and tribulations you encounter, because it truly makes you who you are. Nothing stopped me. My son didn't stop me. If I didn't have my son, I would have never met Maisha. I had to get in shape. She pushed me to the gym. But I wouldn't have learned my own strength. You just have to take your mistakes and make it work for you. So that's something, if I can share with you, take advantage of your mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. Nobody got to where they are without failing at some point in their life. Take risk. I work for a nonprofit organization. You could have never told me I would work for a nonprofit organization. But the truth is, there's no stability in any company. There's no stability in working for corporate America. I was there. Do something that you enjoy, and the money comes. You have to work for money. I get that, but be in purpose. When you're passionate about something, when things happen, they just happen. You're not worried about how am I gonna make it, where's the money gonna come from. Everything just happens organically because it just works out. Her success is not your failure. I heard something like this before, and it really empowered me. We have to work together as women. Healthy competition is good. There's so many different hairstylists here, and they all support each other. Learn from those who before you, learn with those you work next to you. There's growth in everything. Surround yourself with people that inspire you, that motivate you. You might change, your circles might change, but everything is growth. It's good. My friend circle now is completely different from where it was before. But that's okay. I accept that. Everything is not for forever, you know? But I have great friends, and they're all doing something. And those conversations are so powerful because you can, you know, talk to each other and motivate and inspire each other. Those are the kind of friendships that you need. Network, I can't push it enough. Everything that I've done today or to this point in my life is straight off of networking. The contacts I've made from working, I started just doing Monday Night Football. I work almost every sport because I network. I meet producers. I meet whoever there is to meet and pass out a business card. You never know who you're next to. You don't know who you're talking to, who you're talking around. You have to market yourself. So take advantage of every resource in person that you're around. What's next for me? I just hope to continue this journey that I'm on. I don't know where it's going to take me. I don't know what's next, but I know that I'm going to forever advocate Cleveland and try to get people to come to Cleveland. I'm going to always want that desire to make an impact, to change whatever situation I'm in, whether it's young professionals in my community. I want to go back to Africa and work with ACON for Lighting Africa, but I just have strong desires. I don't want anything to stop me. I'm going to always continue no matter what comes my way with the right support behind me. So that's my story, and I hope that helps you. Empowers you.
I'm from here, and it was very hard for me. And I speak in rooms with thousands of women, but this is my first time speaking to you guys in Cleveland. And I'm so nervous because I know so many people in the room and I don't want to fail. Hashtag. I'm all things media. I don't even know where to start, but it wasn't a great start. I want to say everybody looks great. Thank you for coming out. Thank you to Edith and Dee. I go way back with Dee as well. It's funny how life comes back around. So here I go. The first thing I remember as a little girl was hearing my mother get beat. My mom was married to a guy that came home from the Vietnam War. I remember my mom getting drugged down the stairs, her arms broke. I was little and I saw all of this. We ran away and hid out, and we moved on the Euclid side of town, and we lived off of, I can't even think of the name of the street, Cliffview. And we lived up there, and she was hiding from him so he wouldn't kill her. And I don't know my dad. I found out when I was a teenager that my stepdad, I thought the guy was beating my mother. I thought that was my dad, and he wasn't. I never met my dad. I don't know what he looked like. My birth certificate is blank. My mom, always been a hustler. A lot of people know my mother. She fly. She still fly. And she did the best she could with me and my sister. My sister is the oldest, and we're 3 years apart. May of last year, my sister always struggled with drugs. She was on drugs, crack. My sister been in and out of jail all my adult life. She just got out of prison from Marysville last May on my birthday. She got out on my birthday. She called, the first person she called was me. It was just me and my sister trying to hold it together. When I was in high school, I came home from school. I went to Shaw High School. I went to Kirkland Shaw. I lived off of Euclid Avenue, right off of Hillview. We moved we moved a lot. I would make friends and lose them because my mother's always moving us around. So we got a little stable, but I came home from school. I was in the 10th grade at Shaw. A lot of people do not know this, but my sister jokes a lot too, and she says, "Hey, Mom in jail." I'm like, "What? Girl, bye. What are you talking about?" She said, somebody called and said my mom got 2 years and she not coming home. I'm in high school. It's the beginning of the school year. what? I'm like, we lived off of Hillview and Euclid, and my mother she called us and said, yes, I'm not coming home. I was 15, my sister was 17, going on 18. And I remember that like yesterday. So we stayed in the house. My family, not that supportive. We lived there in the house for 2 years with no running water. Everything started getting cut off. We didn't know how to pay bills. We called my grandmother, she wouldn't answer. My grandmother's an alcoholic at the time, and we didn't know what we were gonna do. The lights started getting cut off because we didn't know how to pay bills. You know, you don't prepare for stuff like that. We lived in this abandoned house with rats and roaches. I'm still going to school, trying to make it. For 2 years, we lived in this house. And, back in the early 80s, they didn't put you out like they do now. The guy who actually owned the home that we were renting, my mother was renting, he was incarcerated. So the house was in foreclosure, but back then, it took years to get, foreclosed on. So we lived in there with nothing on, no heat, gas, nothing. So that's considered a squatter, I found out. So we were squatters for 2 years. But I still was diligent. I still went to school every day. I got a job at McDonald's on 152nd in St. Clair. And the old-fashioned McDonald's, I worked there. That's how I ate. Went to school, at Shaw, you had to take swimming. So I would take my showers. Nobody knew this. I would take my showers before a gym. And then I looked decent because, you go to Shaw, you gotta be together. So I didn't look homeless and I was scared to tell anybody because I didn't want to go into foster care. So I kept really good grades and we stayed there. My mom got out of prison and got right back on her feet. She didn't go to jail for drugs. My mother had never been on drugs. She got caught up with a guy, and that's in this week's issue of Calling Up Post if you want to read more about that. But anyway, she got out, we got right back on our feet. My mom, that was 30 years ago, my mom's doing extremely well now. Thank you. So, life goes on. I look at my mother every day. We're so opposite. If you look at my Instagram, I took a picture of her yesterday. She got piercings, and I'm like, wow, and I'm so conservative. So she's doing really well, but she's retiring after 25 years at her job. And so I look at this lady, and I'm like, wow, she's been through so much. When you're young, you're a teenager, you hate them, for you going through stuff. But now I'm like, she was just doing the best she could, And so I don't blame her for things. I forgave my mother for life, but I was very upset, bitter, doing dumb stuff in the street because I was searching. I didn't have a dad. I didn't have guidance. I didn't have a grandfather. I didn't have an uncle, nothing. I don't have a brother. I didn't know nothing about me and how to, it was so hard for me trying to figure out life, And my mom doesn't open up that much. So as time went on, it was very hard for me. So then I'm graduating from high school. I want to hurry up. So I'm graduating from high school, and I'm trying to go to college because my counselor said I was really good. I had 3.0 or something, and you should apply. So I went to Kent. So I was trying to go to Kent. So my mom didn't understand, and my mom doesn't have a high school diploma. So she was very nervous for me to go to college because she thought she was going to be stuck with this big bill. I said, no, Mom, you a single mom. I'm going to get a full ride. She didn't understand that. So I forged your names and went anyway. Had to do what I had to do. So I went to college. The first person I meet the first year is my best friend who's sitting here today. Let me tell y'all something. I was in college with nothing. You know how kids get care packages, their mom sending them things? My mother sent Jack. My best friend sitting right there today, she was in private school and all that stuff. So, but you go Cleveland Central Catholic and all that. And so we would share a coat. My mother, in the wintertime, I didn't have a coat or pair of boots. She would take morning classes and I'd go in the evening and she would give me her coat. And we wore the same size and shoes. Girl. And I would go to class. We would swap boots so I could have winter boots and a coat. I had nothing. So I love her that we've been friends over 25 years now. And so I dropped out of college my 4th year at Kent, and I ran out of money for school. They only give you 4 years, so I had to do like 4.5, so I ran out of money and I dropped out of school. Fast forward, I came home and I used to do nails in the room in the college dorms, and she did hair. So I was like, well, maybe I'll do nails. So I went to nail school, got my license, opened up Nails by Tammy on Noble and Monticello. I did that for like 9.5, 10 years. Got married, had 2 kids, and became a stay-at-home mom. So we now at like 2004. So I met my husband, I became a stay-at-home mom because my husband owns a trucking company. So I'm at the West Side Market one day. A man walks up to me, total stranger. He looks like he's homeless. He actually was an angel in disguise, guys. This is a true story. He walks up to me, my kids are 5, they 3 and 5. He says, ma'am, I don't know you, but God sent me to talk to you. Go back to college and finish. I said, I don't know how I'm gonna go back to college and finish because I have 2 kids, I don't have no time, I'm busy. He was like, if you go back to college and finish, your whole world will change. And he walked away, so I was next in line at an ATM machine. I turned around and tell him, thank you. He just disappeared in the air. The next day, I go get my hair done by Heather at Style and Divas. And a lady sitting under the dryer who's an attorney and a friend of mine, Alicia, she was a professor at University of Phoenix. She grading papers, and she like, oh yeah, it's this new school in Beechwood. And yeah, they just opened, and I'm one of the professors. Isn't this a sign, y'all? So I said, y'all just got a letter saying I'm gonna lose all my credits because I went 4.5 years. I only was missing like 60 hours or something. And I said, I just got a letter saying I'm gonna lose all my credits if I don't finish. So she said, yes, right down the street. You already on Chagrin, it's right on Chagrin in Richmond. I went that same day, enrolled in school, finished college. And mind you, as all of this going on, it's around 9/11 time, and my husband on the trucking business, he hauls steel. They started, 9/11 happened. What happens, after 9/11, we got affected by that because all the companies were going overseas and stuff like that. It affected my husband's trucking company. I'm in school trying to finish, and everything, he started losing contracts back to back. $1,000 every day. So they started repossessing my husband's trucks, the 18-wheelers. Then our personal cars, the house went in foreclosure. We sitting there one day with nothing. They're knocking at the door, bill collectors, and I'm in school trying to finish. It was like the devil was busy on me and my family. And we kept praying. I'm like, we got these little kids, and I got to finish college because I didn't know what. I said, do I get a job? I'm almost about to graduate. We figured it out. He got a call one day. He had bid on a contract, it happened to be in Atlanta. He accepted the offer. I graduated June 1st, 2005 from college. The next day we moved to Atlanta. That's how I got to Atlanta. I had that house packed up in a day. I was out. Our house was in South Houston. Bye. So I need to talk about this. So anyway, I like you. So anyway, we moved to Atlanta. That's how I transitioned to Atlanta. I always hated cleaning the weather. I like hot weather, warm weather, but I love y'all. It's cold here. So we transitioned to Atlanta. So I had a bachelor's degree in business management. And so I said, okay, my son is starting kindergarten, and my daughter's in 3rd grade. Okay, I'm gonna go back into work first. Woo-hoo! I had been at home playing with kids. I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I looked online on Craigslist. Craigslist. So I go to Craigslist. It's a job for an internship. Now, mind you, I'm 35 at the time. I'm almost 50 now. I'm a 35-year-old intern, and I work at Good Day Atlanta as an intern. Good Day Atlanta is like a morning talk show here. And so this lady loved my style. Cleveland, we keep And so she was like, I'm gonna take her under my wing. I like her. She got spunk, she got style. I like her. So the lady, she looked like Diane Carroll, older lady sharp. So anyway, she took me in and showed me how to do TV production, how to put a whole show together. Shout out to Good Day, good. What's good, Cleveland? Yeah, because I started off just like that. So then she took me in, and I learned everything. Went back to school again and learned TV production. A week later after graduation, I started talking with Tammy. With $100. I started my own cable access talk show. I did that for 2 years. I started traveling. What did I say if you listen? What was my first job? McDonald's on 152nd. Why, when I started talking with Tammy, my first sponsorship came from McDonald's. They gave me a $10,000 check because it's really hard to produce a TV show. And it's very expensive, and you have to pay your staff. They cut me my check for $10,000. Budgeted the hell out of that there $10,000. And so McDonald's was my first sponsor. Then the others started coming, and the others and the others. So in 2007, I'm trying to hurry up. I got a long journey. In 2007, the blogging came around. What the hell is a blog? What blog? And I'm on TV, so I'm traveling the world, interviewing, going to red carpets, doing all this stuff. And the blogging came around real tough, and where it was taking it serious in 2007. So I was like, wait a minute, I could do put little clips on YouTube. It's free. I could do this. It's free. Oh, hell yeah, let's do this. So I'm saying, because I was paying like $3,000 a month to air my TV show. So I transitioned everything over to the blog, which is now one of the #1 blogs in the country. I make like 3 million readers a day, and so I started the blog in 2007. Guess what, you guys? When I launched the website, guess what happened? Atlanta Housewives aired. So by me knowing all the girls and all that stuff, people came to my website because I know them, and I'm going to their parties, their baby showers, Kim Zolciak doing it, Nene going on. I was there. So I'm in Atlanta with all these crazies. And so I had all this original content and people to notice. So I went back. I wanted to tell you guys too. I had this teacher at University of Phoenix, and she told me, I'm coming. I had this teacher at University of Phoenix that told me I would never make it in media. I had to go back and speak at the University of Phoenix not too long ago, and who was sitting front row? She used to tear my papers up. Girl, you cannot write. And if you read my blog, I got little typos here and there, but still. And so she said I would never make it in media, and I'm doing that thing right now. What? And so anyway, the blog is doing really well, www.talkingwithtammy.com. And I travel the world. I work with over 3,000 sponsors now. Wow. And I recently, y'all might see no sorority sisters. I was hired by VH1, not Mona Scott. I do know her though. But I've been all over the world, internationally, traveled with the blog. And can I just ask in the room, who kind of knows what a blog is, or what? Do you think it's like a hobby? Do you think it's free? I don't blog for free. I'm with an ad agency. I have a manager. I have a publicist. I blog full time. It's a career. That's all I do. And I remember getting the no's when I first started. Like, you're gonna get a lot of no's in life. That makes you tougher. Cause if I've been homeless, girl, what? That's nothing. I say, but now I turn people away. Where they told me no in the beginning when I first moved to Atlanta, people, who is the little girl from Cleveland? And now, Tim, could you please? No, I'm busy. So I give it right back to her. But it was very hard when I moved to Atlanta because I don't have any family there, none. So it was extremely, extremely hard for me, but I kept going, and those no's, now it's more yeses than no's. And if I can make it, you guys, with no dad, just hard, just really hard. All of y'all can do whatever you want to do. Don't let nobody tell you no. standing right here. And I'm so glad to talk to you guys. And I'm sorry I'm crying, but I love you guys. And it's a hard city, but you can make it, you guys. I love you guys. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Tammy just messed everything up. I'm like, some of y'all came in here in a bad mood. And I was like, she make my life look like rainbows and unicorns. I am honored to be a part of this panel. I'd like to thank all of those that are responsible for Beauty and Brains. I remember Edith when she was the whitest black girl at Cleveland High School. And no, for real. Am I lying? No. It was white girls blacker than Edith. I'm so proud of her and so thankful to be invited. I'm equally humbled to be a part of the series of presenters that have come forward, Larice and Marie and Courtney and Tammy. I thought about what I could possibly contribute to a room full of successful, ambitious women from my hometown. And knowing that I was going to go after several other people that were speaking, it's always dangerous because you don't want to be redundant. And being a man obviously gives me a different perspective than those that have already come before me. But the challenge is, how do we get the most out of talking about empowerment? Because I go to empowerment stuff all over the country, all over the world for that matter, and people leave emotionally empowered with no direction. And as black folks in particular, we have become masters of motivation and inspiration, but novices in direction, because many of us will go to church and we jump up and down and we'll be speaking in tongues and Russian and be doing backflips, and then at the altar for the same thing the next week because we had somebody use rhetorical linguistics to make us feel good, but not give us pragmatic direction to help us change patterns. So I was thinking about what do I say, and I thought about who are the most important women in my life. And I had a father in my life. I lost my father about 1.5 years ago. I had a father, I had a grandfather, I had strong men in my life. So I don't have that narrative where there were only women who raised me. I had men, like straight up hardcore, real legitimate, flawed, beautiful, fantastic, loving, emotionally strong men that helped me understand what being a man, even imperfect man, was. But I had gangster, crazy, intellectually sound, and spiritually in tuned women who invested in my life. No, I'm serious. You know women that will pray and fight. Like they show up St. John, but they leave like Nene. Not really Nene, not really that. So in order to be as succinct as I can, what I wanted to do, and I'm gonna introduce two of the women in my life as I go through this. I wanted to present to you as I would present myself. And talk to the 3 most important women in my life. And so first is someone who is not yet a woman, despite the fact that she often thinks she is. My 15-year-old daughter, Madison, who is taller than me, which is problematic for me on a number of levels. But to this day, and I have 3 children, Miles, Madison, and Malcolm, to this day, Madison's birth at Cleveland Clinic is the most unbelievable moment in my life. Hands down. Madison took 30 hours to come. And I was in Eastern Shore of Maryland when her mother's water broke. And I get the phone call, I'm going into labor, I gotta give a speech. And I couldn't get a flight before the speech, so I gave a speech knowing that the baby was on the way because I couldn't get to the airport. And I fly to Cleveland only for there to be 24 more hours of labor. And Madison is born, and it's a traumatic birth, so I can't even cut the cord. They rush Madison out into the nursery, and after making sure her mother was okay, I walk into the nursery. And as I walk into the nursery, the nurse who was there said, "You must be Mr. Johnson." And I said, "I am." And when I said I am, Madison turned her head in my direction because she knew my voice. You as women have to be clear on the voice of your father in order to be clear on your identity. And I don't mean your daddy. I mean God, the universe, whatever you believe, if you believe in trees and wind, whatever it is. If you do not believe in and understand and are in tune with the voice of what created you, you will never know who you are. And so I'm constantly baffled when I'm interacting with women who are brilliant, who are engaged in business, who understand to a sense of what it is that they want to do and still don't know who in the hell they are. And so they will protest sorority sisters. Like straight up. I can't believe she wore Nelia on TV acting like a damn fool. I can't, they writing in, they protesting, they getting sponsors taken away, and then 35 minutes later, they be like, "Nene, that's my bitch." I thought we got the real in Cleveland. Some of y'all looking at me crazy. I'm talking about you. Your blank stare doesn't confuse me that yes, that's you too. Because I've seen your Instagram page. If we are not clear, if you are not clear as women of who your father is and the reason for which you were put on this earth, then every single day you begin to make wrong steps because your actions are disconnected for the purpose for which you were created. And the purpose for which you were created is the absolute only reason that you have the gifts that you still don't understand why you have them. Just anybody in here confused because every wrong mistake you made, every bad decision, every bad relationship, every time you didn't pay attention, you still wondering, why do I have these gifts? I don't know what to do with them. I don't know how to use them. I don't know how to direct them. I don't know where to put them, but they just won't go anywhere. And I'm more frustrated because I got the gift and I don't know how to use it than if I never had it in the first place. Your gift is totally connected to that power that created you and gave you the gift without you ever having to ask for it. You couldn't buy it. You couldn't bid for it. You can't hustle it. You can't create it. Every gift you have was given to you without you asking at the beginning of time for you to be able to manifest a purpose that is larger than what any other person can fathom on this earth. But I walk around watching women find their purpose in Negroes that don't even like you. Or white guys or Asians or Latinos, whatever. That's how I take that. Some of us are universally open. I say to Madison on a regular basis in an attempt to help her find her identity and understand who she is, my job has been to, in an unbelievably sophisticated way, be able to spoil her with accountability. Because I don't want nobody rolling up on my baby thinking they bringing nothing new. She done had that. She been places you ain't been. There ain't nothing on a menu you can order for her that daddy didn't buy. but no diamonds, no trips, no restaurants, no theater shows, no cars, no clothes can take the place of how I love her. And I am saddened on a regular basis with how many women I see claiming and projecting that some form of attention is love when that ain't it. Because nobody can love you that is not willing to take the time to understand your father enough to understand why you're here. So in the process of falling in love with you, they understand that they are making an investment in why your father birthed you. How do we begin on a serious basis daily to spend time every day you wake up to first acknowledge the fact the only reason that you were allowed to wake up, not to go to that job, is not to go to that business, is not to go to that school, is not to be able to take care of these babies, is not to be able to serve this guy, is not to be able to do any of those things. While those things are a wonderful byproduct of the life that you have created, the reason that you are here is to use your gift to be able to insert it into a world that has to be affected by you in a way that nobody else can. You were birthed to do something that nobody else ever in the history of the world can do. And if you minimize that to a degree, if you minimize that to a profession, if you minimize that to a check or a relationship, if you minimize that to something that somebody else gives you, then you've lost sight of or never discovered who you're supposed to be in the first place. There's nothing more beautiful than the woman that has the brains, but more importantly, the spirit to understand that it does not matter what the world gives me, when it gives it to me, how it gives it to me, but the fact that every day I wake up with gifts that no man could ever give me, but a universally powerful force that puts something inside of me, that when I look in the mirror and I look hard enough, no matter how much the world says they hate anything about me, I love me. I want Madison to understand that she has the possibility of doing anything, anywhere, anytime. She asked me, Daddy, how much have you saved for me to go to college? I said, nothing. And you laughing, I'm serious. I said, my mom is laughing harder than anybody else. I said, nothing. I said, let me help you understand how much I have paid for you to go to this private school that you've been in since you were in pre-K. I paid this much for you to be able to go to this private school since you've been in pre-K so that you could make relationships, so that you would be around people that were going to be leaders, so that you could understand what it meant to have access to this, so that you would be with teachers that expected you to learn as opposed to thinking you learning was some anomaly. For you to be in a place where you would be able to be introduced to subject matters that you were not going to in the public school that's in our district that is dysfunctionally affecting the kids that you go to church with. I paid for this not because I think that you're better than them. I paid for this because I wanted to be able to invest something in you to put you in a position to be able to see what's possible and be prepared to be able to do it. I also did this understanding that if with all of this you can't research scholarships to get you into college, then I'm not paying for it. But how many of you clapping have been prepared to do things you don't do? How many of you have gone through everything Tammy went through was not for her to be depressed and pushed down. It was preparing her to be able to fight in a space that she didn't even know was even real. But how many of you have survived stuff but you take it for granted? How many of you have pushed through stuff but you let it go? How many of you have been given things and resources and knowledge and abilities and gifts but you look at them and complain about what you don't have instead of creating something that other people, there are people that are praying for the stuff you complain about. How do you begin on a daily basis to understand that I was put here for a reason and that every single circumstance that I've been through begin to create beautiful strategies that begin to put you in a place where you're taking everything that you've been through, figuring out what you learned from it, and then putting down on paper what you plan to do with what you learned from the worst things in your life. I will never forget when I first started on BET. I left the NAACP. I was making good money. I needed a change. I had gone to New York, not to be on television, but to try to launch off a consulting career. And anybody how many of y'all remember when you first started your business and you started taking meetings that were either lunches or dinner, not because you wanted to, because you knew somebody paid for you to eat? So there was a guy in New York named Stephen Hill, and he was a friend of a friend. He's president of BET right now, and president of entertainment for BET. And somebody said, your name came up, you should give him a call. And I said, oh yeah, he will pay for lunch. So I emailed him, and I'm like, Stephen, I heard my name came up. Let's meet over lunch. And Stephen's like, bet, come. Never had thought about being on television, ever. I walk into Stephen's office. Literally the first thing he says to me is, do you want to be on TV? I'm like, I don't know. I've spent the last 5 years building a reputation of credibility. This is BET, all TV ain't good TV. What you talking about? He said, this was 2002. He said, love your energy, think you would be great on the network. I want to put you on Rhapsody or 106 in Park, but I don't know how. And I said, I can't do 106 because they shout from the time they come on to the time they go off, and I'm not that hype. I'm not. I can't do that. I said, but Tigger's my man. I said, I can be for Tigger what Tavis has been for Tom Joyner. I said, I can come in once a week, I can talk about some stuff, he can bounce. He was like, bet. You're gonna be Cousin Jeff, you're gonna be Tigger's cousin, we're gonna call you Cousin Jeff, we're gonna start taping next week. And I was like, Cousin Jeff, I'm from Cleveland, but I'm not country. The problem with this, he said, trust me, it'll work. I said, will you censor me? He said, no. Boom. That day that I had that meeting, I walked out of the meeting and I walked 100 blocks up to Harlem where I was staying with my boy because I only had $2. And I had to consider, do I walk 100 blocks and have $2 to buy some rice and beans, or do I catch the train and be hungry? It doesn't matter the position you're in. There is a blessing that is preparing to present itself. But if you don't present yourself in ecosystems that are prepared for blessings, you often remain sad in places that are barren. Are you prepared to go to the places where there's blessings even when you don't feel blessed? Which means get out the house. Which means stop circling around them catty, negative, nasty, non-productive, angry women that you surround yourself with oftentimes, who really don't want you to be anything except applause for them when they get blessed, but don't want to be applause for you. So, because I'm taking too much time for that. Understand the blessing that you have in life. Understand the gift that you have been given. Understand the purpose that comes along with that gift. Understand what it means to be able to fight, not to win, but to put yourself in the position to be introduced to that which you cannot create for yourself. And then have the gumption to walk into it and do it and make it work. There's nothing worse than somebody that prays for something that when they get it, they don't pimp it. It amazes me when I watch people that will pray, get it, and then be mediocre with it. Second important woman is my wife. Baby, stand up real quick.
She's pretty.
I had no interest in meeting this woman. She had no interest in being met. We had no understanding that each other existed. And her life had been one thing, mine had been in many cases something else. Every single woman in here that desires to be in a loving relationship has to understand that what sets you up for a loving relationship is not looking for one. What sets you up for a loving relationship is doing you. Because every man I know that actually likes his wife, that caveat is necessary. No, I'm serious. I know a lot of dudes that don't like their wife. They got married for whatever kind of reason, they together for whatever kind of reason, they never should have been together, they don't like each other, they don't spend time together, you don't get to know her, none of that. I know men that are married. Some of y'all are married to people who don't like you. Some of you have been in marriages with people that didn't like you. You were in marriages with people you did not like. Some of you, that's why you weren't in them anymore. But the men I know who like their wives, what they fell in love with is the reality that she was absolutely, totally, and completely amazing, disconnected from them. I don't love my wife because of what she does for me. I don't love my wife because of what she looks like when she comes on my arm when I show up somewhere. I don't like my wife because of what she takes care of at home when I'm on the road. I don't like my wife because she is amazing with our children and treats them like they're her own. I love those things. But what I fell in love with was this unbelievable, crazy, insane, brilliant, strong, aggressive, put together woman that did not need me when I showed up. Because that gave me the ability to be able to see her in a way that was totally separate of me, so that what I was falling in love with was not my own narcissistic selfishness to be able to identify either a slave or an assistant that could provide value to the places that I wanted, but somebody that was a partner in passion that when I connected with them, they made me better, holding me accountable even as we pushed together. But you can't do that if you're not doing you. So how do you, every single day, as hard as it is sometimes to be lonely, let's be honest, how many of you, if you are honest, like straight up, totally and completely, have often found yourselves more sad with somebody than you were by yourself? How many of you, if you're honest, understand? How many of y'all, if you're honest, know that you have given up stuff that was part of your promise for somebody that didn't deserve one date? See, when you do you, you don't have time to date somebody that blocks you from doing you. When you're doing you and somebody shows up on the set and is like, yo, here's who I am, this is what I do, this is how I am, this is what I do, this is what you gotta do to be with me, and then it stands in direct opposition to who it is you know God called you to be, that Negro is not, no. It's not even that he's not for you to date. It's not even that he's not to be your husband, not to be your boyfriend. He doesn't deserve your number. And the problem is that many of you in this room will give meantime Negroes your number, waiting for the main time dude, but the main time dude can't call you because you messing with too many in the meantime dudes. And in the meantime dude, wait. And in the meantime, dude, as you're dealing with him, not only takes away your energy, but cuts away at so much of who you are that by the time you meet the main time dude, he's not even meeting who you're supposed to be. Meeting a bunch of women that have been chopped down by meantime dudes. But see, a real brother can see it. Because we can see sisters that have brilliance that don't know they're brilliant. And doing you is about three things. Number one, it means, and that first part that we talked about, acknowledging your true identity and walking in your purpose, using your gifts to walk in that. The second thing is understanding that every relationship you create, whether it's with a man or woman, has to be consistent with the creation of your purpose. That means men and women. That means there are some people in our lives, and not just from a financial standpoint, because you need your team, period. You need those 5 people in your financial space that help ensure that you get to the financial goal. But you need a team of people that can actually ball. Right. You building your team is almost like you being a general manager of a basketball team. People right now don't build teams just with people that like balling at the rec. I need to choose people on my team that have the ability to win a championship. Or at least with some development can be contenders for a championship. Y'all be choosing people that look good in 4-inch heels. When we show up at the club, I gotta have my crew. Y'all know y'all have friends who you don't go out with because of how they look. Going out with you is going to reduce my free drink to 30%. About 30%, we're not going to get a bottle bought for us with her with us at the club. South Beach will not be the same with her. It's not going to be the same with her. She can't be on the beach with us. She can't be on the beach with us. Y'all know I'm serious. And when you leave her at home, she the one praying for you on your trip, while these other chicks cutting you up behind the back because you went out with them based on how they looked versus who they were. And so when you build your team, it's got to be people that understand and have taken time enough to get to know you, to know why you were put on this earth. Can you put your team together? The last thing is, as you understand that purpose, as you put together a team, are you willing to understand that even the smallest decision affects where you ultimately go? Like I've heard so many people over the course of the last couple of weeks in particular talk about their resolutions. And their resolutions are, I want to do this or don't do this. I'm going to do this or not do this. I'm going to do this or do this. Here's where I'm going to go. This is what I'm going to do. Resolutions are an absolute waste of time. I have something called Manhood Legacy Prayer. And every day, Monday through Friday, we have about 500 to 700 men that get on to pray every morning for 15 minutes. And we are walking through a process right now over the course of the next 2 or 3 weeks that is about not making resolutions, but calling for revolution. Because the definition of a resolution is something that I want to do or not do. A revolution is overthrowing a system to replace it with a better one. When we make resolutions, we don't always acknowledge not what it is we want to do, but what's standing in the way of us having done it in the first place. No, you ain't got to make a resolution if you was doing it. So why are you focusing on the what I want to do instead of what in the hell has stood in the way of me walking in this purpose on a daily basis and committing to destroy it? So if you're not willing to make a revolution, you will never go to the next level in 2015. If you're not willing to make a revolution against mediocrity, if you're not willing to make a revolution against how you feel about yourself, if you're not willing to make a revolution against how you spend money, if you're not willing to make a revolution against who you've had in your circle, because that begins to tear down what has been in the way, that you can now take that vision and begin to build it. Last but not least, the most unbelievable, amazing, fantastic, and incredible woman that I have known is my mother. And I think about, on a regular basis, the hell I put her through. No, real talk. Not, I'm 14, I got an attitude. I don't know how to navigate the divorce of my parents, and you cannot tell me that it's emotionally affecting me. And the fact that my father has moved somewhere out of the city, even though he's presently in my life, I understand what I have the ability to do when he's not right there. And I'm giving it all to my mother. And never one time did she ever say I've had enough perpetually. She said I had enough. And she said it again and again and again. I've never been more challenged by anybody than my mother. When everybody else was celebrating, she was asking me why. When everybody else was being a fan, she was asking critical questions. And the beautiful thing about women is that you all have an eye that men don't have. You see things that men don't see. And I'm not talking about what you feel, because that's something different. I'm not talking about emotions. I'm talking about your ability to cognitively see things that we, because of our brains, cannot see. Our egos, just because we're men, stand in the way of us seeing certain things that you all have the ability to see. And so what our community needs, whether it's in business, whether it's in politics, whether it's in economics, is the eye of women to be able to not stand in the gap. Y'all have been standing in the gap long enough. What I want to see is men and women who are committing to multi-gender leadership models that say that men can see and do things differently than women can, and that men cannot be the leaders that they've been called to lead without leading with women. What happens too often is that we are able to convince you to lead for us. If you watch Selma, as great as the movie is, you will buy the narrative that has been told over and over again, which is King and Abernathy and Andy and John Lewis and Bevel were the primary leaders of this movement. But you ain't never see them train nobody. Hello? Everything they did was brilliant. And by that I mean their contributions were brilliant. But at some point, you got to train the people that are on the front lines. And primarily those were women. Those were women who were ensuring that men and women got trained to be on the front line of a movement that if you don't have the masses, there's no movement. But when you talk about the narrative of who was the leader, you talked about men who were spokespersons, but ignore the women that were the fabric of a leadership that created a movement that the rest of the world celebrates. So now when you celebrate Malcolm or Martin, you don't deal with Fannie Lou Hamer. You don't talk about Daisy Bates. You don't deal with even the women that were in a misogynistic nation of Islam oftentimes that believed in so many cases that women only were here, but there were women in the room advising Elijah Muhammad and Farrakhan and others while they may not ever lift them up. Hello? Yes. What is your call for leadership. I was never confused, even though I made bad women choices. I made several. I did. But I made bad choices because I let meantime chicks have too much time. So as a narcissist guy who loved myself and wanted to find women that could feed my narcissism, I wasn't confused that you wasn't gonna make it to the finish line. Because my mother showed me what the finish line was. I was just too stupid to understand that you risk reaching the finish line messing with people that can't help you get there. But I always knew what the prize was. So when I met my wife, I saw my mother. Despite the fact I ain't no mama's boy, I love my mother. But I ain't got pictures of her up in my bedroom. Isn't that frightening? You ever been to a dude's house and he's got his mom's picture? Right? If you ever go to a dude's house and his mom's picture is next to the bed, you can love your mom. You got to be in love with your mom. Some of y'all will get that later. There is a movement, a business, an opportunity that is waiting to be led by you, and led by you in concert with men. And there are men that are actually waiting to lead with women by their side, and sometimes in front of them, not just behind them. And the most progressive male leaders that I've ever seen are those that aren't threatened by the women of leadership, women's leadership. And so it's not about being a feminist. It's just about being human enough to understand that what my wife, what my mother, what my daughter, what my female friends bring to the table is something that I can't. And so the question is, will you be bold enough to bring your leadership to the table in places that aren't asking you to bring it? In 2015, will you be bold enough to be prepared and show up in places that have not asked you to come, but that need your leadership? Because whether it's changing Cleveland or changing your family, changing your church or changing a business, your leadership is going to be needed in ways that men won't know how to ask for it. And if you don't find a way to show up with your brilliant self, then the entire ship won't move the way it's supposed to. I am absolutely unconcerned with whether you like my speech or not. I came because I was inspired by these young women and what they wanted to do. I'm inspired to be in my hometown speaking to a group of women that are trying to change the game in 2015. And the only thing that matters is what will you do? How will you leave this day different than you came in? What will you be committed to doing tomorrow that you weren't committed to doing yesterday? And how will you remove something that's been standing in your way that before you came in today you were making excuses for keeping? I need you to do each of those things. Commit to one thing you would do tomorrow that you wouldn't do yesterday. Commit to moving one thing out of your life that you have allowed to exist in it far too long. And finally, who are the women you will partner with in manifesting your destiny to be an example that women can roll together without being catty? Right. Bless you.